I was always somebody, when I think about, my time before coming here at Shively, I always think of the phrase, keeping up with the Joneses. That was a phrase of mine that always just kind of ran through my mind. I constantly worried of, always feeling like being left behind. I never wanted the guy in front of me to be too far ahead of me. And that was me. Eventually growing up, I think that stems a lot from not being raised by a mom and a dad. My mother and my father were absent a lot early in my childhood. But luckily I had a great supporting cast of both my aunt and my uncle who stepped up for me. And unfortunately, my uncle being 70-plus years old, growing up as a kid, we didn't get to do a lot of the fun dad, son, father stuff that you normally get to do. And I missed out on that. And I didn't realize how much that affected me until a lot later on in life. And so I always kind of tried and find somebody that I could look up to, somebody that could be a fatherly figure to me. And which kind of led me up to meeting a guy who I credit to, the guy bringing me to Christ. I consider to be a mentor. He was somebody that I held in high regard, somebody that I just allowed to pour into my life. He said he was a Christian, and anything he took and said, I vouched for it, and I believed it. So, we always was constantly, we were real close. We would always just kind of butt heads, quit talking, and that was just kind of how we did it. And like I said, I just kind of cruised through life at that point and got into a relationship that I really didn't need to be into, kind of just pursued it straight out of lust. So that was it. I just kind of had this relationship, and I was cruising through life, and everything eventually just changed. November 12th of 2019, still remember it very fondly. My aunt and my uncle were my safety net. They were my sense of security, if you will. And I remember getting woken up at 11 o'clock at night by my uncle saying, Noah, Aunt Jeannie's not moving. And I just remember walking into this room, really not knowing what to do, and just seeing my aunt and knowing she's already gone. But, for my uncle, I just remember carrying this lifeless body off this bed and trying to resuscitate her, and on the phone with 911 trying to do what I can. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was in shock and scared, and I lost my aunt. And that's when things changed for me. I always considered myself to be a good person, quote unquote. And I ended up being somebody who used to be very optimistic, looked at the world through rose-colored glasses, so to say, and became selfish, arrogant, had the worst temper. Somebody who was just selfish, and I didn't care about life. I had no point in life. I was living very aimlessly. I just constantly, yearned to be around somebody I could talk to. I felt like I couldn't be her. I felt like it could be nobody in the family. No one would understand. And I constantly kept going back to that mentor of mine that I met who just poured in my life. I remember getting a text and a call from him, and we just kind of talked and rekindled our relationship. Eventually, he just invited me to come to Shively. He said, man, I'm here, I'm doing all these things, and I understand, at a time like this, you need to be around a lot of people, because he'd heard about my aunt, and he knew how much she meant to me. And so we came one Sunday. I took him up on his offer finally after blowing him off at least once or twice, and I came. And this is probably the 5th time ever I've been in a church. I sat down, listened to the sermon, just met people, did a lot of people watching, looking around. And, as more and more time got on, I started getting involved in all these studies, started to get just on fire for God early on. I was on fire, I was running, I was taking off. I lead a Sunday class, and I've also just do a lot of some of the sports outreach for Shively Christian, reaching out to the community with a lot of basketball leagues and also basketball camps. I also help serve with the youth on Wednesdays, trying to help and lead that in any way that I can. Try and help out sometimes with the Good Samaritan ministry whenever I can. And hopefully up here, I'll become a deacon here soon and just continue to get involved and continue to serve the church as best as possible. Anywhere that they need, I'm there and I'll serve. So if you ever come to Shively and you probably see in a ministry, you'll probably see my face. Or if I had to just name one thing, why Shively, I think about the church and not the building. I think about the congregation, the people here. Selfless, loving, accepting. This is the first place I ever came to where I could walk into a room, talk about my darkest secrets, my biggest failures, and victories in life, but also my hopes, my dreams, my fears, and walk into a room and not get a funny look or feel like people were pushing me away or not talking to me. It got met with love, acceptance. I got also accountability. This is a church where we get involved in your life, but in a good way. And I think the church represents that well. We're going to get in that pit of despair with you. We're going to sit in the suck with you, and we're going to bear your burdens and pray for you. Like I said, this is a strong congregation, and we're just very welcoming, and that's why. Are you searching for something? What are you looking for? Are you lonely? Do you have a family? That's the biggest thing for me, because, like I said, I came from not having a family. I lost my family, and luckily God had blessed me with another one here at Shively. Lo and behold, I ended up growing really close with the associate pastor here, and losing my aunt and my uncle. I lived in a guy's basement for 10 months. God didn't even know. Their child wasn't even 6 months old yet, and they allowed me to move in and cleared out a space for me without even me asking. We're selfless, and we're just willing to help anybody that comes in through these doors and show that love of Christ through what we do.